You earned hundreds of thousands of dollars as an MP speaking. Are you pledging to give all of that money back?
Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David, and today's top story, we've got Australian news is calling Pierre Poilievre basically the gold standard of politician, right-wing politician, or center-right, whatever you want to say. They're pointing to him as what all other right-wing politicians should be like. This is pretty amazing. We got a bunch of other clips, so let's jump into this. So first up, posted by Table Salt, we've got this one. It says, I applied to 200 jobs and didn't get a call back. We're about to be homeless. So this post here on /Ontario Reddit, subreddit, says, I've never dealt with this before. My husband is a millwright apprentice. For context, he has a job with the millwright union. There's so little work that he has worked a total of 90 hours since the beginning of summer. If you look down towards the bottom here, it says there's so many people applying for every job. We're absolutely screwed. Credit is tapped out. We're stretching it for groceries and gas throughout college. What do we do? How can we survive this place anymore? And we don't even have enough money to leave. It is a bad situation. So they're located in the Sudbury area. I mean, this is a lot of Canadians now. They just are pushed to the limits here because of Justin Trudeau's failed policies, destroying our country. I feel for them. My advice would be to move, go to Alberta, northern BC, or other areas with resource production where millwrights are in demand. As someone else said, in the meantime, plug the holes with gig work like Uber. I know it's a horrible situation, but you have to fight to make it. This here is quite the clip. This is from Australian Parliament. Politicians in their parliament are using Pierre Poilievre as an example, a gold standard example of center-right politicians, and basically the only one that's around in modern times right now as an example of what other right-wing politicians should be like. He also mentions Harper and a few others here.
Over the last decade, it has often been dispiriting for classical liberals and small government conservatives in the Anglosphere not to be led by the same type of principled and determined global figures as Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. Great leaders, of course, followed them, like George H.W. Bush, John Howard, David Cameron, Stephen Harper, and John Key. But for the last decade, depressingly, there has been no such right-of-centre leader of that same calibre. Today, though, I have high hopes for the leader of Canada's Conservative opposition to take up that mantle. Pierre Poilievre stands alone as the global leader that classical liberals and small government conservatives are looking for. He is not a boring managerial centrist, nor a far-right populist reactionary. We should look to him for policy and leadership inspiration. Poilievre's policies include a war on debt and deficit, where any increase in government spending must be simultaneously offset by cuts, industrial relations deregulation, privatisation, eliminating subsidies, and overall lower taxes, including payroll tax and capital gains tax reform. But probably his best policies overall are on housing, especially in contrast to Trudeau, who constantly misses his housing targets, and with home ownership now becoming a pipe dream for most young Canadians. Poilievre is proposing tying state infrastructure funding to housing targets. If housing isn't increased by 15% in a jurisdiction, then no new infrastructure will be built. Similarly, cities that meet and beat their housing targets get a $10,000 incentive for each additional new home built. If they fall short, money is stripped away. As a result of these housing policies, young Canadians are now almost twice as likely to vote for Poilievre than Trudeau. There is nothing inherently left-wing about Gen Z and millennial voters. In many ways, they are classical liberals because they just want to own a home and be left alone.
There you have it. Given huge praise to Pierre Poilievre in Australian Parliament. Wow, it's just every day it's something else. Pierre Poilievre has my vote for PM. If Canadians do not vote Pierre, there will be a collapse in the country like never seen before. I agree with that. Own a home and be left alone. Beautiful. Next up, we got this here. It's a vintage clip posted by Vesper. This is going back maybe, I don't know, a couple years, 2 years ago. This is an interesting clip because it's got the whole before and after, the whole thing compiled together. So basically there's a charity that was looking for a big name. They brought in Justin Trudeau, thinking that he would bring in all these donations. He didn't. He had a high fees to bring him in there, and they lost money. The charity lost money, and Trudeau refused to pay back money. Not surprised.
Well, Justin Trudeau finds himself the target of ethics questions this weekend after a charity asked him to send his speaking fee back a year after an event which didn't draw enough people to make any money. The Liberal leader is with us now to face his own question period. So let me make sure I have this straight. A charity in New Brunswick says they want to raise about $300,000 for some new beds for a nursing home. They tried to reach for a big name, which you were, to try to draw people in. Didn't work out. They ended up losing money. They want it back. Do you feel any obligation at this point to give that $20,000 fee back?
Look at that guy's sour face. He's just, when he first mentioned his mouth was like he had the total sad, sour face. He couldn't hide it.
I'm going to answer that in a moment, but I want to sort of set the table a little bit.
So are you pledging, because you earned hundreds of thousands of dollars as an MP speaking, are you pledging to give all of that money back, or are you saying if you want to hold an event, I'll show up for free?
Refuses to refund $20,000 speaking fee. Oh, Trudeau.
This was a charity. Did you know it was a charity at the time?
It's not good enough. I'm going to work with them and deal with them straight and fix this situation that they have.
Yeah, he doesn't care. It says Liberal leader Justin Trudeau is rebuffing a New Brunswick charity request that he refund a $20,000 speaking fee. Yeah. After the fundraiser headline last year proved to be a huge disappointment. So this was last year.
What does it say about Justin Trudeau when he heard that this was an 80-bed nursing home and it was their first fundraiser trying to do a good thing, that at that time you still said, I want my fee?
Oh, geez, what do we got here? He's getting paid $160,000 as an MP. Then he went back and took $20,000 check from the group of seniors trying to do a fundraiser to buy furniture. He pretends to be a defender of the middle class. Middle class Canadians make charitable contributions. They do not take huge payments from charities, especially when it is their job to help them. In an interview, NDP ethics critic Charlie Angus said most MPs speak at events without a fee as part of their jobs. Yeah, Trudeau, no. All he cares about money. He's a narcissist and he's greedy. Really, straight up. Whatever happened to the notion of public service, Mr. Angus said. To me, it's a staggering amount of money to take from a charity, but to do it as a public official, as a member of parliament, I think is unconscionable.
One of the things, though, is I have never charged for a charity. Do you accept that until today, that the way you conducted yourself on the question of speaking fees and the celebrity that you're able to, make money off of, frankly, that was working counter to the case that you're trying to make to Canadians?
It's went back to the screenshot. So that's the end of the video. They actually don't play any more of it. I'm fine with that. I don't want to hear Trudeau speak anymore. I mean, Trudeau is just, he's gross. Oh, Papa is king. Give me the money like Scrooge McDuck. Trudeau's just the most phony loser ever. We are now seeing some really goofy stuff here in Canada. So we've got this posted. Basically the H word. We'll call them hummus. The people who like chips and hummus, the hummus supporters, are now disrupting rides at the Canadian National Exhibition. So they're dropping, as it says here, hundreds of flyers denouncing the Toronto Air Show are being dropped off of rides across the CNE fairgrounds. How is this not illegal? What is this? This kind of, this is so ridiculous. Surely the CNE probably has security wherever they can throw them out of their press charges. This can't be allowed. Last I checked, this is littering and disruptive. Where are the police? Littering, how nice. I know, this, you can't just drop hundreds of pieces of paper like that. And while we're talking about these people, I'm just gonna call them these people with these flags. You can see a banner here, it says cancel the show. They very much want to cancel the Toronto Air Show. And this group goes up to a family here, sitting on the grass, and starts talking not nicely to them. And there's like a little girl there that's like probably 6 or 7 years old. This is not acceptable in our country.
We're ruining Good Day in the Sun. How does that make everyone feel? As there's an active occurring. Shame. But it's okay. It's usually the old white man that will say something like that. So let us continue our march and talk to more people. We should not let the privileged old white man tell us what is right and wrong.
Okay, YouTube doesn't like these videos. We're just gonna end that there, but this is ridiculous. If you want to see the full thing, I'll link it up on my X account. We'll repost it. This is not acceptable behavior in our country, though. Why do they keep getting away with this? If this was done 10 years ago, you'd just be put in jail. That man's restraint is impressive. Bless him for remaining so calm. Yeah, no kidding. That dude should run for mayor. Everyone's liking this guy for the amount of self-control. This garbage does not belong in our country, period. Yeah, amen. And we got another video with these people doing more things. We've got Byward Market in Ottawa. Cannot sit and have a drink, enjoying the last few days of summer because they're letting off those smoke pow devices. And you can see they're just filling the streets with this smoke. Now, I believe this video is shot by Chris Dacey. I mean, it's posted by Salman, but you listen to it, it sounds like Chris Dacey Media. And so he goes through here. I'm not going to play this because YouTube doesn't like these videos, but he goes up and he finds a police officer to talk to saying, is this legal? You'll see here, it's a very polite conversation.
Is that setting off of smoke like a permitted thing, or is that legal? No? I'm just curious, like...
Their faces with napkins because it's bothering them so much.
The smoke was filling the patio here. I'm just wondering, like, is that a noxious substance, perhaps, or... No? Is there someone that could answer these questions for us, maybe?
So that cop says nothing. He's stone cold. This guy, he doesn't like it at all.
Just wondering what, like, do they have permits for setting off that smoke, or how's that work?
Film, so you can say whatever you want. What do you want?
Do not advance and don't touch me.
Well, don't. I don't want.
That's fine, man. But you don't get to come up, and you certainly don't get to block me from filming in public and put your hands on me.
I don't need you.
Okay, well, you're in public.
This cop is out of line. But so he asks another cop here a little bit later, and this cop actually talks to him.
The question is about, like, what's your deal with the smoke, man? Like, is that a thing we can get a permit for, to set smoke off and fill patios with smoke? I don't know. You've got a good point. I mean,
It's hard to hear him, but he said, I don't know, you've got a good point.
Well, I don't think it's noxious. It has to be a noxious substance. Okay, yeah, for it to be a criminal, but I mean, it certainly is affecting, say, enjoyment of property. I don't need you to comment on that. I'm just curious about the legality there.
Like magician smoke.
Yeah.
He said that's magician's smoke and not noxious, but either way, if you look it up, which I already have, to use those smoke pow devices, you have to have a permit from the city. So do we really think they got permits for that? No. Come on. What city would allow that? Yeah, go set those off. That's great for our society. Give me a break. So here's a screenshot of what we're talking about. Once again, I'm not going to play this, but people are not happy about what's going on here. So most of these comments here, people are very much in support of getting rid of all the smoke and stuff. There was one comment saying that, why is he complaining by a little bit of smoke, this and that, freedoms, blah, blah, blah. Well, when it comes down to it, what are Canadians supposed to do? Get a plane ticket and go over to the other side and go to the front lines? What are we supposed to do? We can't solve anything for what's going on over there. Let's get real. I mean, really, if you want to protest a government, it should be the American government. They're the one with all the big toys, the big pow toys. We've got an update on this story I showed you guys just the other day. So this was that house. Basically, there's a woman walking through and showing there's no guardrails, there's nothing, no permits. These guys are just digging a whole entire basement so you can sleep more of these foreign students in the back. Well, now the news is involved. This is blowing up, and even the owner showed up.
So is that his business?
That's the owner.
It's a Brampton home renovation project that has some residents worried.
Top concern is safety, the safety of the children that reside next door to this.
A neighborhood built in the 70s seeing a swell of buyers finding ways to accommodate tenants wherever they can. At this house, it means digging a new basement apartment. Some neighbors have complained that the job site poses a hazard. There's no fencing or barriers, day or night.
This is what I have to live with.
The owner next door posted this video out of frustration.
My kids cannot sleep.
She didn't want to appear on camera citing her daughter's safety. Her friend Kathleen explained the concern.
The homeowner has 2 young children, one with special needs. Unfortunately, as a result of all the construction that's been going on and not in a safe manner, she's been a prisoner inside her home.
They've called the city of Brampton many times, involving the local councillor and the mayor's office, which says it's aware of concerns, but nothing has changed. I'm Sean O'Shea, I'm a reporter at Global News. We spoke to the owner, who expressed his own concerns.
No right to videotape us without telling us. You should talk to us before videotaping.
Sure. What's your name, please?
whatever my name is.
City told us he has a building permit, which is supposed to be posted. Can I see your building permit, sir?
No, I don't need to show you anything.
Some residents point to projects like this one where they say there's little oversight, like what gets dumped in that backyard pool they're filling in.
And there's no rules with regards to any kind of clean fill. That pool can just be thrown whatever you want to throw in that pool.
And as for safety overall, a city spokesperson told Global News those open window wells, for example, are just a component of the construction project and don't require fencing or barriers.
Buddy! Hello? Hello?
City said they'll be visiting the property again to ensure compliance. Neighbors here say enforcement so far has been non-existent, leaving them disappointed and frustrated.
They need to crack down on this guy and give him some serious violations. This is ridiculous. What kind of housing is he really building back there? Is that even legal? This guy probably doesn't have a permit for that as well. Where's the bylaw and city standards? It's a work site they could shut down for unsafe conditions. Yeah, no kidding. If building inspectors don't stand up, then there's clearly some sort of corruption going on there. There's a lot of comments in here, people talking about how there's a lot of units like this in Brampton doing this. We've got quite the clip here. It's a combination of clips of Kamala Harris. She basically is stating she doesn't like that there's, free speech on Twitter. I don't like the way she's talking here because she basically wants to have control over it. She sounds very much like an authoritarian thug. And this is being posted by Elon Musk, who says freedom of speech is under massive attack around the world. Just to set this up, she's talking about Donald Trump. And you can see here it says President Trump, we're trying to find out whistleblowers' identity. We're not going to get into all the nitty gritty of what's going on in America, but just know that if she gets into power here, is she going to be really cracking down on free speech as well?
You look at what he's been tweeting today, directed at the whistleblower, directed at so many people. I frankly think that based on this and all we've seen him do before, including attacking members of Congress, that he frankly his Twitter account should be suspended. He is irresponsible with his words in a way that could result in harm to other people. And so the privilege of using those words in that way should probably be taken from him. Should probably be taken from him. Should probably be taken from him. He has lost his privileges and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
I know you wrote to Twitter and the CEO, Jack Dorsey, and asked him to take away the president's Twitter handle, his account. How is that not a violation of free speech? I mean, the president has the same rights that you have, that I have, and how would that not just be a slippery slope?
I've heard that argument, but here's the thing, Jake. First of all, a corporation, which is what Twitter is, it does not have it has obligations, and in this case, Twitter has terms of use policy, and their terms of use dictate who receives the privilege of speaking on that platform and who does not. And Donald Trump has clearly violated the terms of use, and there should be a consequence for that. And there should be a consequence for that. Not to mention the fact that he has used his platform, being the President of the United States, in a way that has been about inciting fear and potentially inciting harm against a witness to what might be a crime against our country and our democracy. And for that reason, I do believe that it's clear that he has violated the terms of use, and I'm asking that Twitter does what it has done in previous occasions, which is to revoke someone's privilege.
So getting away from just the terms of use, just speaking generally, I don't like the language she uses, where freedom of speech is essentially like, it's a privilege. You should, the way she says it does not sit well with me. Regardless if you support Trump or you support Harris, the way she's talking about limiting free speech has a really stinky waft of Justin Trudeau. We have had too many years of that here. I do not like the way she's talking about that stuff. And just to put it into comparison here, you don't really hear Joe Biden talking like that. Jumping over to my group, let's see what memes we've got today. The weekly wrap up, the Trudeau government is long on excuses, short on solutions. Yeah, I mean, their whole retreat here in Halifax, they were hoping to come up with something. They came up with nothing. Let's get real. All they did is went on a vacation on our dime. They had fancy lobster dinner or whatever they're eating and billed it to us. Trudeau's EV plan again, out of touch. Mandate only EVs by 2035. This is funny because if they put that 100% tariff on BYD Chinese EVs coming into Canada, it goes completely against this. I mentioned it in a previous video. They're completely screwed if they do that. We'll see what happens. So what's it like knowing that everyone... I don't think YouTube likes that word, so we're not going to use that word. You guys can see it. Wokeness. People give a shield to be mean and cruel, armored and false virtue. NDP support crumbles. 5-point drop in a month. This is funny. The steelworker. I don't believe you for a second. You might as well have a donut since I bought them with your money. Envoy to NYC giving up second chance to show up. So basically, Tom Clark here, Trudeau's buddy, the former CTV host, is the guy who's living in that $9 million new apartment that Trudeau bought for him with our money. He refused to show up for a committee meeting, and now he can actually be arrested when he comes to Canada. But because he's in America, he can't be arrested. The whole situation is ridiculous. Just take away this traitor's citizenship. Trudeau's backing Canadians in a corner, and that's not a good thing. Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. Trudeau's divorce leaves nation in shock as he was married to a woman. At the rate Canadians are going, we'll need the Liberals' permission to make a phone call. Yeah, we're not far off. After 9 years, we get donuts. There they are. The donut memes are starting. When I'm stressed and don't have answers, I like to play pocket pool. This is interesting. It's a different angle than we saw with that one video from CTV. Look at Trudeau's body language here. He's really hiding that from that other angle. This guy is like... just completely wrapped up. And this guy's cool as a cucumber. He just ripping Trudeau. Had no problem. Captain Schmuck and his big chin. It's like, ugh. All he had to say too was like, go have a donut. Here's another photo from that steelworker confrontation. And yeah, we haven't seen this angle. Like, look at this. This is smug, arrogant Trudeau. We're getting the whole works here. With the rise of Pierre Poilievre support across Canada, currently dominating Atlantic Canada now, we have to ask, what is the Liberals' final card to play? What is their final desperate move?